two coins, two different years, but one incredible story. The 1982 and 1992 French 5 centimes may look small, but they carry the soul of an entire nation within their golden shine. Each coin has traveled through time from the streets of Paris to the final days before the euro changed everything. What secrets do these tiny witnesses of history hold? What stories of freedom, revolution, and pride are hidden in their design? Stay with me because the truth behind these two coins is far more fascinating than their value. It's a journey through France's legacy, captured forever in metal. Welcome to World Coins Explorer. Take a close look at this coin, the French 5 centimes from 1982. At first glance, it might seem ordinary, just another small piece of metal from a European country. But believe me, this little coin carries a powerful story, one that represents the spirit, struggle, and pride of an entire nation. When I first held this coin, I didn't just see numbers and metal, I saw a piece of France's identity frozen in time. Let's dive into this fascinating journey of what this coin truly means and how it reflects a changing world. Back in the early 1980s, France was going through a period of transition. The world economy was shifting, the Cold War was still casting its shadow, and Europe was slowly rebuilding a modern identity. The 5 centimes coin of 1982 was a symbol of stability during those changing times. It was minted under the French Fifth Republic, and it carried not just economic value, but a message, a reminder of the principles France has always stood for: liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, equality, and brotherhood. Those three words weren't just printed on the coin. They were deeply engraved in the hearts of the French people. Now, let's talk about the design. On the obverse side, you'll notice the elegant face of Marianne, the national symbol of France. She's not just any woman. Marianne represents freedom, reason, and the eternal spirit of the Republic. The artist Lucien Georges Bazur captured her profile with flowing hair, symbolizing movement and progress. Her gaze is forward, towards the future, a subtle message that France always looks ahead, no matter how tough the times get. Every line on her face tells a story of revolution, resilience, and rebirth. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the denomination 5 centimes surrounded by graceful olive and wheat branches. These aren't random decorations. The olive branch stands for peace, and the wheat represents prosperity and hard work, two things every country dreams of achieving together. And just below, the year 1982 sits quietly, reminding us of the time when these coins were part of everyday French life. Imagine it, millions of people buying bread, newspapers, and even their morning coffee using this tiny coin. It was a small but essential part of daily living in France. But what makes this coin truly fascinating is that 1982 was one of the last decades before the euro replaced the French franc. This coin was part of the old currency system, which disappeared in 2002 when France adopted the euro. So today, this 5 centimes coin isn't just an old piece of money, it's a memory of a time before the European Union unified its economies. Holding it feels like holding a piece of pre-euro Europe, when every country's coins told their own story and carried their own national pride. And here's something many people don't realize: even though it's small and made of aluminum bronze, the 5 centimes coin played a big role in everyday transactions. It taught children how to count, it jingled in the pockets of workers, and it even appeared in coin-operated machines all across France. The coin became part of daily culture. Ask any French citizen born in the 70s or 80s, and they'll smile remembering how these little coins were everywhere, on the streets, in shops, and in their childhood piggy banks. What's even more interesting is the symbolism of the French motto on the coin: liberté, égalité, fraternité. These three words originated from the French Revolution in the late 18th century. So, when you look at this coin, you're not just seeing 1982, you're looking back almost 2 centuries into France's revolutionary roots. It's like history folded into metal. Each time the coin changed hands, it carried forward the message of freedom, equality, and brotherhood, silently reminding people of the struggles and victories that built modern France. Another fascinating detail is the coin's material. It's made from aluminum bronze, a combination that gives it that golden glow. But that wasn't just for looks, it was a practical choice too. The material made the coin lightweight, durable, and resistant to corrosion. That's why even after more than 40 years, these coins often look surprisingly well preserved. Collectors love this feature because it allows them to find coins that still shine almost like they did the day they were minted. Imagine a tiny 5 centimes piece still holding its glow after decades, surviving through the years like a timeless witness. Now, let's talk about the artist's signature on the coin. Look closely at the front, you'll see the name Lagerfeld, referring to Lucien Georges Bazur, the talented engraver behind the design. His artistic style perfectly blended classic beauty with modern simplicity. Bazur's coins have been praised for their balance, neither too ornate nor too plain, but just right to represent a proud, forward-looking nation. His artistry turned a simple coin into a piece of miniature sculpture, something that could tell a story even without words. And you might be wondering how many of these coins were made. Well, millions were minted, but over time, most disappeared from circulation. Some were melted down, others lost, and only a few survived in excellent condition. For coin collectors today, finding a 1982 French 5 centimes in mint condition is like finding a small piece of gold history, not because of its metal, but because of its meaning. Every scratch, every shine tells a story about where it's been and who might have held it. Finally, there's something poetic about how this small coin connects generations. From a worker buying bread in Paris to a collector holding it carefully in 2025, it's the same object, traveling through time. When you look at it, you're not just seeing France, you're seeing the idea of continuity. This coin bridges the past and the present. It reminds us that even in a world of digital payments and contactless cards, the charm of real, physical money, especially coins like this, will never fade away. So next time you come across a 1982 French 5 centimes, don't just see it as an old coin. Think of it as a storyteller whispering tales from a time when liberty, equality, and fraternity were not just words, but dreams people lived for. And who knows, maybe that tiny coin in your hand once passed through the fingers of someone who helped shape modern France. That's the magic of history. It hides in plain sight, waiting for curious minds like yours to rediscover it. The next golden coin, the French 5 centimes from 1992, it's easy to think it's just another small piece of metal from Europe's past. But in reality, this coin tells a much bigger story. It's a tiny reflection of France's culture, its history, and the values that define it. Imagine holding this coin in your hand and realizing that it once passed through the pockets of people in Paris, Lyon, or Marseille. Maybe it bought a baguette, a cup of coffee, or even a newspaper on a cold morning in the early 90s. This 5 centimes coin might be small in size, but it carries the legacy of one of the world's most powerful republics. So today, let's travel back in time and discover what this coin really meant, not just to France, but to anyone who believes in freedom, equality, and unity. The 1992 French 5 centimes coin was minted under the Fifth Republic of France, a time when the country was modernizing rapidly while still holding on to its proud traditions. The early 90s were significant for Europe. The Cold War had ended, the European Union was forming, and France was preparing to enter a new monetary age. But in the midst of all these changes, this little coin quietly circulated among millions of French citizens. It represented everyday life, the small transactions, the human connections, the daily rhythm of French society. To the outside world, it was worth just a fraction of a franc, but to historians and collectors today, it's a reminder of how France balanced progress with pride in its national identity. Take a look at the front side of the coin. You'll see a graceful woman's profile, facing toward the future. That's Marianne, one of France's most iconic symbols. She's not a real person, but rather the personification of the French Republic itself, a timeless representation of liberty and human rights. Her calm face, flowing hair, and confident gaze have appeared on French coins, stamps, and official documents for centuries. The inscription République Française surrounds her portrait, proudly declaring the spirit of the French nation. And if you look closely, you'll see the signature of the artist, Lagerfeld, in homage to the sculptor who gave Marianne her elegant form. Her image symbolizes a woman who stands strong against oppression, a guardian of justice, and a beacon of democracy. Now, flip the coin over and you'll find the famous French motto engraved at the top: Liberté, Galet, Fraternité. These three powerful words, liberty, equality, brotherhood, are more than just a slogan. They are the foundation upon which the French Republic was built during the Revolution of 1789. Every French citizen knows them by heart, and seeing them on this coin served as a daily reminder of those eternal ideals. Beneath the motto, the large number 5 indicates its denomination 5 centimes surrounded by delicate branches of wheat and olive leaves. These symbols represent agriculture, growth, and peace, essential elements of French life and culture. And at the bottom, you see the year 1992, marking one of the final decades before France would say goodbye to its national currency. The 1992 5 centimes coin holds a special place in history because it came from a time when France was preparing to transition toward the euro. Just a few years later, in 2002, the French franc, the currency that had served France for centuries, was officially replaced by the euro. That means this small coin belongs to the final generation of pure French money before the European Union unified its economies. For collectors and historians, that makes it a powerful symbol not of wealth, but of identity. It reminds us of a France that stood proudly on its own, yet looked forward to joining a larger European community. But let's talk about something fascinating: the coin's composition. The 1992 French 5 centimes was made of aluminum bronze, giving it that soft golden hue and light weight. This material choice was intentional. It was durable, resistant to corrosion, and easy to produce in large quantities. Unlike precious metals, it wasn't made to be luxurious. It was made to be practical and accessible to everyone. And that's part of what makes it so symbolic. It represents equality in its truest form. Every person, regardless of class or status, used these same coins in daily life. That's the beauty of it, a shared symbol of unity that quietly passed from hand to hand, unnoticed but deeply significant. Now imagine this: it's 1992 in France. The air is filled with excitement and change. The Maastricht Treaty has just been signed, paving the way for the European Union and the creation of a single European currency. People are hopeful but also a little uncertain about what the future holds. Amid this historic transition, coins like this 5 centimes continue to circulate, carrying on traditions while the world shifts around them. For the average French citizen, this little coin was a part of daily life, a small reminder that even in a changing world, the core values of liberty and fraternity remained constant. That's what makes it more than money. It's a time capsule from one of Europe's most transformative eras. Here's something else most people don't realize: coins like the 5 centimes have an emotional connection for many French families. Parents used them to teach children how to count. Street vendors used them for daily sales. They were there in pockets during train rides, family vacations, and everyday shopping trips. Each coin, in a way, carries traces of countless lives and moments. And now, decades later, when you hold one, you're not just holding a coin, you're touching memories, stories, and experiences from another time. It's like shaking hands with history itself. Even from a design perspective, this coin is a masterpiece of simplicity and symbolism. The flowing lines, balanced proportions, and meaningful imagery reflect France's deep appreciation for art and beauty, even in something as ordinary as currency. The engraver, Pierre Rodier, and the mint designer, Lagerfeuille, followed a long tradition of French coin artistry that goes back centuries. French coins have always been admired for their elegance and philosophical depth. They tell stories, not just values. The 5 centimes of 1992 continued that tradition beautifully. And when you think about it, this coin, now out of circulation, has traveled through time to reach us today. It has survived pockets, purses, drawers, and maybe even forgotten boxes in old homes. It has witnessed decades of change, from the pre-euro economy to the digital age we live in now. Yet here it is, still gleaming, still carrying the same message it had over 30 years ago. That's the true magic of coins. They endure when everything else fades. They are silent witnesses to history, patiently waiting for someone curious enough to ask their story. So, the next time you come across the 1992 French 5 centimes, don't just see it as a small old coin. See it as a storyteller, a symbol of freedom, equality, and unity that once pulsed through the heart of France. It's not just about metal or value, it's about legacy. Because in the end, every coin has a voice, and if you listen closely, this one still whispers the dreams of a nation that believed in liberty, fraternity, and the hope of a better tomorrow. Both the 1982 and 1992 French 5 centimes coins stand as timeless witnesses of France's rich history, culture, and artistic spirit. Though small in size, they represent a nation's identity, carrying stories of liberty, equality, and fraternity across generations. Today, these coins remind us how something so ordinary can hold extraordinary meaning, a link between the past and the present. Whether kept as collectibles, historical artifacts, or simply cherished memories, they continue to shine as golden echoes of a world before the euro, before digital payments. A world where every coin told a story of pride, progress, and people.